Monuments such as this one dedicated to the 79th New York Infantry, who helped defend Fort Sanders against Confederate troops, and historical markers such as this one, or any of the numerous others that surround the University of Tennessee campus, are all that remain of the lopsided 20-minute engagement over the control of Knoxville during the Civil War. But the spirit of the war can still be felt in East Tennessee, which is why every year since 2008, the region has held its own reenactment of the battle. And an exhibit was created for the McClung Museum of Natural History and Culture, and it is here that the story truly lives on.
Well, in the fall of 1863, there were 4 major armies in the state of Tennessee, and the nation's attention was focused on the war in the West.
Several of these fortifications in the West were built under the command of General Orlando Poe, and one in particular, named after General William P. Sanders, stood just west of downtown Knoxville. This fort was being defended by General Ambrose Burnside, who had gotten word that General Braxton Bragg had just besieged Union forces in Chattanooga. General Bragg sent a detachment under the command of General James Longstreet to Knoxville to prevent Burnside's army from moving in support.
In November, now with the Union Army in Chattanooga under siege, having been defeated at Chickamauga, now they decided they had time to send a Confederate army north to Knoxville, take Knoxville back, return to Chattanooga, and continue to wait for the surrender of the army under siege in Chattanooga.
The siege of Knoxville actually began on November 17th, but unfavorable conditions and the need for reinforcements delayed Longstreet's army for 11 days.
In 11 days, you lose the element of surprise.
It did not help that Longstreet's troops were grossly outnumbered, 440 to around 3,000 or 4,000, and the positioning of the fort atop a hill gave its defenders the better vantage point. With the odds heavily against them, Longstreet devised the best strategy that he could.
Numbers are something like 3,000 to 4,000 men could mass an army and be out of the range of the fire of the guns in the line, and basically run up the hill, throw enough bodies into gunfire to overcome the firepower once they get to the top, then storm the fort, hand-to-hand combat, and the whole line would fall once that point was reached. That was the plan, and it had worked before.
But this time it did not work. Longstreet believed that he could travel through the trench leading to the fort. However, this is where he met the full extent of Burnside's onslaught, and where his army met their fate.
The trench is filling up with blood and body parts, and bodies, and live men, and it's slaughter. It's a horrible, horrible time. In the rear, Longstreet gets a report that the wire entanglement has stopped the advance, and he calls a retreat. Now, that's not true. They got through the wire entanglement, but in the back, he hears about it and calls a retreat after 20 minutes. And that's the end of it.